Hi, hello. I am getting ready to chop my Splendid. I'm feeling all sorts of way this morning. I'm feeling somewhat sad, somewhat happy and excited, but then I'm like anxious about chopping her. I don't know. I was just thinking my last pole chop was my Adansonii. And that was back in February. So it's been like 4 months since I've done a pole chop. And I think that's why I'm a little anxious about it. I brought her out right here. I'm gonna show you her. So that's what we're doing today. I'm really excited, like I said, but again, I'll get over my little mood. It's gonna be so much better once it's chopped and she can like continue to grow and get bigger leaves. So sometimes it's emotional, I don't know. Certain poles I just feel like I get more emotional over, especially ones that are just so sentimental because I grew them from such a tiny plant, you know? Welcome if you're new here, I'm Melissa, and yeah, let's get started on chopping my Philodendron Splendid. So this is her. She is super tall. I'm gonna be chopping her out here kind of in the dining area because I don't want to make a mess in my plant room and it might storm outside. So this afternoon here, so I don't want to go outside. It's like 10:30 in the morning, so it's still pretty early, but I figured I might as well just come inside and do it. That way I don't have to worry about switching places. This is about a 6-foot pole. It's actually a little less. It's probably like 5.5 feet. They're a standard 3-foot pole that I make, and it's extended right there in the middle that you can see. So it loses a good probably like 4 or 5 inches in the middle when you slide the extension over the existing pole. So we lose a little bit of height on top. I do have a garden stake to the back here for stability, like all of my poles once they get to be extended. And the thing I love about wire is literally it's just sturdy. I don't have to do anything with it. I literally plop it right out and she's steady. I don't have to worry about her leaning over. It's like, I don't know. I love the thickly ones, but I also, whenever I have my wire, I like them because I know they're not gonna fall on me, you know? So let me turn her around again so you can see her beauty. So yeah, you can see I was due to extend her a while ago. Her last node is up here and she's gonna be pushing another one soon in this node here. So I really need to get these anchored into moss. I should be able to slide the new pole over. This one might be rooted in here, so I might have a little difficulty getting the new extension on, but hopefully I can do it and the roots won't give me any trouble. So she's 3 vines total. And I started her last May. I started her at the same time with my Glorious. My Glorious is about this size. It hasn't sized up as quickly as my Splendid. So this was definitely a faster climber. It has one main vine that you can see is the biggest. That is the newest leaf. It might be slightly smaller just again because the nodes they don't have anything to root into. So that's again why I want to get those nodes planted against moss so that they can root in and encourage the leaves to grow bigger. I have a smaller vine here on this side, and I do have another vine over here on that side. So my plan is to take her apart where I had previously extended, which is right here. I want to keep the 2 smaller vines and pluck some of them, or keep some of them with the bigger leaves. I could add an extension on top when I go to chop it and let these 3 nodes, or these 3 vines continue to climb. So then I'll have 2 poles but I don't want a second Splendid pole, so we'll see kind of what happens. Look at Star with her head in that bag of moss. She was doing that earlier. She must like the smell of it or something. Oh no, that's Chai. I thought that was Star. Star was doing it earlier. Look at him. Cats are so funny. I love cats. So yeah, that's the plan anyway. I never know what exactly I'm gonna do until I'm actually like doing it and in the process of going through it. I have an extra pole that was in my garage. I don't have to like make another one. I do have to finish filling it with moss. This is from a different pole that I had chopped. So I'm gonna make this pole first and get that ready to go so I can add the extension on. But before I do that, I'm going to cut the vine so that the vine, the end of it, has a little bit of time to callus. I'm getting ready to cut her vine. I'm spritzing with alcohol on my shears to sanitize them. Clean them really good. All right, I have to figure out where I want to chop her. It's interesting because she's going to be climbing up this pole, the new extension, so fast because she's already quite grown so much above the top of the pole already. So it's going to come up quickly again that she'll need another chop. So let me move this to where you can see. So this is where we have extended right here. So I'm trying to think where I want to cut this plant. There's a node right here that has grown into it. So I'm thinking about cutting right below that and keeping that one climbing how it is. And with this one, we could keep a good portion of that. And then with the middle vine, I could cut this middle vine again and take this one off and keep some of these other bigger leaves to add in here again on the bottom. Or I could just cut these all up to propagate, and I honestly wouldn't even really need to propagate them because they're pretty much rooted in here in the moss, some of these smaller ones. So I don't know what I should do. And some of these ones, the leaves don't look the healthiest. Some of these lower leaves caught spider mite, so there's old damage. I think I'm just gonna cut the vines where the extension is, and then I will figure out what to do with this bottom portion later. So I'm gonna show you where I'm gonna cut here. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this one right here, the smaller vine. 1, 2, 3. And this one over here, we are going to cut on this part. 1, 2, 3. And the bigger one, we have a node right here, if you can see from all the leaves in the way. Right there is the node, so I'm going to cut right below that, right here. I actually may not be able to include that one because it's below the level. I feel like it's gonna get in the way when I put it in the pot. Well, I'm gonna cut below for now, and maybe I can still squeeze it in the pot. I'm just gonna cut really close to the node. Okay, 1, 2, and 3. She's chopped. But do you see what I mean? So the extension is here. So that's going in the soil. This bottom part of the pole ends here. So this is hanging a little bit below, like an inch below. So I probably won't be able to keep, that one might not fit in the soil, but we'll see. I'm just gonna cut it there. I might have to cut above what I cut already. Get rid of that little bit. Yeah, but we'll see. It's very juicy, it's very wet, so that those ends, I went ahead and cut them first so that the ends could dry before I pot them into soil. So she is chopped. We're gonna let her hang out. So she is hanging back out here, and then we're gonna work on building our pole for the extension. I'm so glad I had this made up already. I didn't have to make a new pole. It's like my worst when I'm out of moss. or out of wire poles, because I hate making them. The rest of these zip ties out. I'm going to leave a little bit empty so that when I slide this over the new pole, it'll fit, because I need like a good probably 4 inches or so to slide over it. I pack my moss pretty tight. I like to have a good amount of moss in here. I think when I measured it before, I used about almost a whole bag, not quite, to do 1 pole. And this I get at Lowe's, the hardware store. And I always test by closing it together. If I feel like I need to add moss somewhere else, then I will. Okay, that honestly looks about good. We'll work on zip tying. So the bottom, again, we're gonna slide that over the existing one. And this will be the top of the pole. So I'm gonna fill this more with moss once we get the plant on here. So that way our watering globe will fit on top and that there's enough moss on here. Because if you don't add enough moss, the water's going to spill out when you go to water it from the top. This next part I like to do totally is not necessary, but you see how like fuzzy the pole is? All the extra moss that kind of sticks out. I like to take my shears, or you could take like a pair of scissors and kind of shave it basically so that it's more, I guess, aesthetically pleasing, so that you don't have all this extra moss sticking out. Again, totally not necessary at all. It takes a little bit more time, but I like the cleaner look of it. Sometimes when all the moss is sticking out, it just looks a bit messy. just for me personally. So I like shaving the extra moss. It doesn't really work by sticking it in. I feel like it still looks messy, so I just kind of take my shears and yeah, I basically just shave it. So you can already see that looks better than like the messy bits. You see how much more clean it looks? Call me moss pole shaver. It's so satisfying. All right, so our pole is made. So the ends have pretty much dried at this point because I feel like it's been a little while. So next step is to cut the wire. We'll take apart these zip ties. I'm going to take the zip ties out from the stake here in the back, and then where I have the two poles connected, I'm going to remove the zip ties. And then since I already cut this, I should be able to lift the pole right off and she'll be cut. And we can work on potting the base up and adding the extension on top here. Stake comes right out. Definitely need that stake though, because you can tell it's a lot more wobbly without the stake. So again, where I have the two poles connected, I'm going to remove the zip ties here. Oh, they go flying. Sometimes I zip tie all the way around, but it doesn't look like I did that for this one. Okay, we ready? Just gonna slide right off. Oh, I have a pen in here. Would help if I remove that. Oh, I know what the problem is. This bottom vine is rooted into the bottom one, so it's not going to come out of there. I'm gonna break some of those roots on the bottom. It's okay. Okay. Woo! This one fell off on the side, so we're gonna include that in here. Oh my goodness. So this is our chopped pole. She's still a huge pole. Don't get me wrong, she is a huge pole. It's always sad chopping, I don't know. I have to be careful because I am known to smack the top growth of the pole as soon as I chop it. I'm gonna anchor this little piece back on. Hi, Nanoon. We chopped her pole. We chopped her. She is all chopped. That is crazy. There honestly isn't a lot of roots on these nodes to add into soil since I accidentally cut these ones, pulling the pole off. So that we're gonna fill this bottom with soil here. It'll still do fine. It'll grow new soil roots. And there's so many roots that are in each individual node has rooted into this pole. That was Star. That I'm not worried about this plant, hopefully not shocking too much. And it'll grow new soil roots down here. So I was worried this would stick out of the pot a little bit. So I might not be able to save this node, which kind of stinks because I really need these roots in the soil. Because the next node is here. So then I'd have to get rid of a little bit of, I'm thinking I can still get this in the pot because I could squish it a little bit forward maybe. We're gonna try it. We're gonna see see how it works. I was wanting to sort of take the middle vine off of here and to add it along in there. And a lot of these older nodes didn't really root that well in here, so they may not even be that rooted. And this moss is kind of old. This is like over a year old moss now. So I'm thinking about cutting these up individually, and maybe I could just sell some cuttings or something of the Splendid. And I don't want someone to get their hopes up that I'm selling the bottom part of my pole and the growth is still pretty small, you know. I'm making a huge mess in this, in here. Whoa. Oh my goodness. I'm just removing all the zip ties. So I want to save this leaf on this middle vine with this leaf on the middle vine. And the next leaf is this one, which I think I'm gonna cut here on the vine and save like 2 leaves. Use some alcohol again, and I'm gonna cut right here on the vine. And so I'll have 2 nodes that I'll possibly reshoot. Well, I know one will, but I'll have another one that could possibly reshoot. So I'm just gonna take this one out of here. I have a little container down here I'm dumping all this into. I hope that made sense what I was doing. So I was just removing the moss so I could pull this vine piece out, because I'm going to add this through the front of this and add it on to my main pole, because this was that middle vine that was growing and these 2 leaves still look pretty good. So it's going to reshoot a new growth point from this top node here. Right here is where a new leaf's going to emerge, and the next leaf might be a little bit smaller, but it's going to continue to size up, I feel like, rather quickly. It has like enough roots, I feel like, to support a reshoot, and I don't think it'll take too long to size up again once it starts growing a lot more new roots into the moss. So I'm going to add that one in there. I do want to reuse the pot though, because I don't have any more 6-inch of the repot me, because I want to plant this one into here. So I'm just going to lift the soil out of here. I'm just going to use this one for the new pole, and we will think about what we want to do with the bottom half here, because I'm not sure yet. So we will see with that. So I'm going to, I'm going to wash this out because I like clean pots, and I'll be right back. So for our pole here, this piece that I took out of the bottom, I want to add it to the front of this one. So I'm going to spin this around carefully. And let's see, I'm going to add this. I want one of these to get to the soil, so I'm going to plop this, let's see, that to rest on there. without squishing the new growth too much. Sometimes this really needs to be like a two-person job. Just don't want to squish the new leaf any more than I have. Kind of rest this on the two pots. Okay, so I do need to get rid of this leaf because that's going to be in the soil, so that we're going to get rid of. We're going to have to get rid of that leaf too. Okay, so I'm going to use these orchid clips to anchor the vine onto the pole a little bit better. And this one, I'm going to squeeze this one right in here. So I don't know if you guys can see what I'm doing. Let me see if I can show you here. There we go. So I just fed the vine through the wire, through the front. And then with the roots on this piece, I'm going to feed the roots through the front of it. It was easier to do on a previous pole, my micans, when I did this, when I didn't have any moss in here. So I'm just trying to squeeze these roots through here, if I can. There we go. And then I'm going to attach a orchid clip right there. And then these roots, we're going to feed that again through the wire. So the only thing I'm worried about, again, is this piece sticking down too far when I go to pot it. I don't know if that's gonna work. I don't want to get rid of that pretty leaf though. It's too pretty. I'm gonna zip tie this here shut. It's so hard to do this and give you guys an angle of what I'm doing. Poles are such a messy project. Oh my goodness. I'll have to give you a view of the mess when I'm done. This is my moss pole mix. I think that vine's going to be a little bit squished in there, but I think we can keep it. I think it's going to work. Okay, so we have it stabilized in there in the center of the pot. The bottom part is filled with soil, and we're just going to fill up with soil around. I don't have a lot of roots that will be in soil because it has to grow new roots. So my job is to make sure that this moss stays hydrated. I don't want these moss roots to dry in any way. So that is going to be very important for me. I'm going to add some Osmocote. You really want to tap and get rid of those air pockets. I am giving you guys all sorts of angles for this video. Okay, so this is what we just did. This is what we just filled up. So this is the new top half. It's in the soil. I have to water this yet. I'm gonna water it in last. I'm actually just gonna take it to my shower, I think, and just hose it down because I have dirt and stuff on the bottom of these leaves. So this is her. So now we need to do the extension. She is still like beyond the top of the pole. So we're gonna take our new pole that we just made, and I have it open here so that we can slide it down over top. So you want the back here where you zip tied to line up with the back. So my only concern is this node that has grown into the moss. I won't be able to slide this pole down over this node unless I kind of break the root system up it in here. But we're gonna see. I'm gonna remove this little clippy. And I'm gonna slide down and see. I'm gonna have to add a little bit of moss in here. Okay, well, I'm gonna add a little bit more here. I'm gonna stuff a little bit more back in here on the bottom. Okay. Well, very carefully slide this over. It's getting caught on this bottom node a little bit. But I think it'll be okay. It's like right at the top of this node. I hope that makes sense. So it's like rooted into here. So I can't just like slide it down because the roots are in the way. Okay, I need my zip ties. Shoot. Please, oh my gosh, don't fall. Please don't fall. If that falls, I'm gonna cry. Okay. Okay. Did that make you anxious? It made me anxious. Okay, we're gonna finish zip tying this. Next, I need to add this garden stake back to the back of it. because we need some stability. This stake instantly makes it more secure. Ooh, went flying. Okay, let's see. Let's remove this sheath here. The crispiness, the caterpillar. Okay, so my problem is, so these are off the pole because they were growing up on the, they were basically growing in the air. These are the aerial roots that had formed. So what I'm gonna do is get this node pressed up against the moss as close as I can and kind of guide these aerial roots to the moss so that they can be encouraged to attach in there. At this point, these little butterfly clips aren't really going to do the job, so I really need to go get some Velcro because these aren't going to attach like I need them to because the vine is getting so thick. Yeah, I'm gonna need to go get some plant Velcro. Okay, I will be back in just a second. Okay, I can't find it. I'm just gonna use this clear grafting tape. I'll have to get more Velcro. Could have sworn I bought some though recently. Okay, and you want to look at your vine alignment too and make sure that it's kind of centered. Position those aerial roots to the moss, and then I'm going to take this grafting tape and kind of go as tight as I can with it around the node. Okay, and that's going to help that root into here, and once it roots, I can remove this. And so this one here, you see this is where the next node is that I need to secure, and this is the next node. Let me bend this down a little bit. See how it's all the way off the pole, how it's growing? So I'm going to anchor this new node. This is where the new leaf comes out of, and the new roots. I'm going to get this anchored against the pole as well. Okay, so that one, you have to be careful because when you're getting into these thick vines, they can snap easily, so you just want to be very careful. Do it gently. Where did that butterfly clip go? I think I can remove that one. So this butterfly clip, I'm actually just going to clip the new one, just clip it close if I can, because that'll anchor it enough. And I think this is pretty secured against here with this one, that I don't need to add another support there. I'm actually going to use a piece of grafting tape around this one because I feel like it's just coming off a little bit. Woo! This is a project. Oh my goodness. Look how stinking cute. Okay, my next task before I water this plant and I show you everything. So what I've been doing lately is plant leaves, they start to get long. Some have longer petioles than other, which is the part that connects the, like on the inner node here to where the node is, the long petiole, like the stem, can get kind of long and fanned out. So what I've liked to do recently is to take a piece of like elastic and kind of bring the leaf closer to the pole, like anchor a little bit closer so it's a little bit more condensed and not so, it kind of saves space too. So I'm gonna do that for some of these leaves just to get them closer to the pole a bit. It takes a lot of extra time, but I love how it looks aesthetically. So I'm gonna work on that real quick next, and then I will show you what the pole is looking like here. So this is what I use. It's just some elastic. It's really hard to tie. It doesn't damage the petiole at all. It's not like fishing line. It doesn't cut into it, but it's a little bit of a pain to work with. I'm not gonna lie. So I'm just gonna show you one and then I will do the rest off camera. I think I've shown you this before. So I just take my cut elastic, I take it around the petiole and I just feed it through one of the wires, one of the lines on the pole. Again, this is a very tedious process. Okay, so once you have it pulled through, you're basically just going to tie it. I cut this one too long. Tie it to bring the petiole closer to the pole. This stuff comes undone easily, so it just is a little bit of a pain to work with. Whoa. But do you see what I mean? How closer that brought the petiole right here? It's not sticking out like it was. So I'm gonna do that for a lot of the big ones and then I will kind of show you what she's looking like here. Do you guys see this mess everywhere? Oh my goodness. I still have to figure out what to do again with this section, but look at her. Oh my goodness. I absolutely love her. She's standing up all on her own. I have to water her yet. So the soil is dry, so once I get some water in there, it'll be a little bit more steady. And once I get her back in her ceramic pot, that is absolutely gorgeous. So beautiful. So let me give you a closer look. I don't have that much room for growth. So I said I was never gonna make a pole bigger than 6 feet because she is 6 feet. I don't want to chop her again so soon, so I might do like another foot extension. I might have like a 7-ish foot pole. So that's the newest leaf here. It's still hardening a little bit, but it's pretty much, I don't think she would shock too much. So I have the elastic pretty much tying all the petioles up. I have to tape that a little bit better. I have the grafting tape on there and there. Again, I have the elastic tying each petiole to the pole. And then again, like down here, I did some more. And down here, I did some more that you can see. So now I have 4 vines climbing. I have the main tall one. I added in the section from the bottom, and then I have the 2 on the side. So I have a total of 4 in there now. It's really hard to make them all out. I don't have any soil roots at all, so there's no roots in the soil. Whatever roots that this plant is going to survive off of is what is in the moss. It'll grow new soil roots in some time, and I'm going to have to do my very, very best to keep this pole as watered as possible. I'm going to take her to my shower right now. And remember, these 2, well actually, yeah, these 2 nodes did not have any roots yet because these were the 2 that were hanging off the top of the pole. So I only have a few nodes here that are basically going to support this entire plant. So I'm hoping she doesn't shock too much. Time will tell. I have not chopped my Splendid before. This was the first chop on her, so I'm not sure how she's going to react and respond. I hope she doesn't shock. Yeah, I'm sure she'll be okay. But I'm going to take her to my shower, hose her off really good. I'm going to water some Superthrive, I think through the pole as well, just to reduce any shock. Yeah, we'll put her in my plant room, make sure she's getting some good light, and hopefully she'll do okay. She might have become my favorite pole now just because of these big leaves. Like, she's gorgeous. It is crazy to think that this came from these tiny leaves. Such a beautiful plant. I love her. Okay, so we have a Superthrive in our water, and I'm gonna run this through the top of the pole. Yeah, I think I'm going to take just a little 20-minute break. I need to use the bathroom and I think I might just eat a little snack because it's heading towards 1:30, 2 o'clock. I've been at this for 2 hours easily. It's been taking a while. And clean up my little bit of mess I made in there so it's a little bit more condensed so the cats don't go playing in it. And then I'll have to figure out what I'll do with the bottom part of the pole yet. So while I eat a snack, I'm gonna think about that. My goodness. So it just started storming out of nowhere and hailing. We lost power for a little bit, but it's back on now. I think whatever system passed through is gone, but that was just so scary. Some of the storms here are insane. It was just raining and then it just boom. It just started lightning, thunderstorming, hailing, wind. It's flooding out front. Scared the poor kitties here. So I cleaned up my mess. The pole is still in the bathroom. I think just for the sake of time, I am not really wanting to keep this little section on the pole. So I'm just gonna take my shears and cut each individual node up and just add them into I'll probably just keep them in moss since most of the roots are in moss. and just prop them. And you know, I won't keep the cuttings, I'll eventually get rid of them. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. I just don't feel like keeping it on a pole. Say, that was loud. Yeah. Yeah. So cute. Poor cats. They were scared to death. They were like running under the bed and just crouched so low to the ground. It's still thunderstorming though. So yeah, I'm gonna finish up here and then I will give you a final look at the pole in her spot. I have probably like 3 to 4 in each little cup. So I'm gonna let, a lot of these did not have roots since they were the bottom part of the pole. They didn't really attach in that well. So I kept the leaves that were the most pretty, and I have a couple cuttings in each one. I just use moss. These leaves are my favorite. There's 2 in that one. So once these actually root and sprout new leaves, like a mid-cut, once they sprout new growth, I might end up just selling these. So I have, I have lots, because I don't need all of these Splendid cuttings at all. And this is the wet stick. I have lots of little empty nodes that I just planted into a little strawberry container. I figured sometime this summer, once I get through like more of my repotting and stuff that I have to do, I really want to look into starting my own website and maybe try and sell some plants on there, or cuttings at least, because I really do, or I really am interested in that part. Just because I have so many plants and cuttings I would like to get rid of and try and sell. So that is that. I just didn't really feel right selling that bottom part of the pole the way that it was. You know, it was old soil, old moss, some of the leaves were damaged. So I don't know, I just feel better about taking it off. I would say when it's time to chop again, I will definitely like sell the bottom part of the pole as is and add an extension on for whoever wants to purchase it. And they'll have some big Splendid leaves, because I feel much better about selling that part than what I just got rid of. All right, I'm gonna get her put back in my plant room and I will show you her and yeah, finish getting this mess cleaned up, and that'll be it. I cannot believe how long this has taken. I had like a 30-minute period where it was storming and the power was going off and on, but I was hoping to film another video today, but I didn't get around to it. I want to get more poles in here extended, so I guess I'll probably film again tomorrow and get some of that done. Yes, Chai. So I'm gonna bring her in here and show you what she's looking like. I love her. I just got her back in her spot. She's like right next to the Glorious. The Glorious had a little damage from when she fell onto the floor. That's the newest leaf. Ugh. Well, this is now the newest leaf, this one here. She looks so good. I love her. I got rid of that tiny growth on the bottom. She's like a big chunk of leaf now. So I have a little bit of room to work with. She's about the same as these ones over here. Why is that light not on? I bet you the storm knocked the power out somehow. Huh. Oh, there we go. Okay, that's better. Look at her. Seriously, just love her so much. Thank you so much for watching. I feel like every time I do one of these, it's always chaotic, no matter whatever I think going into it. It's gonna be easy, it's not gonna take that long, it'll be quick. No, it's like 5 hours go by, but it's worth it. She's gorgeous. I love her now. She's probably my second favorite pole. I don't know though, because I love my marble, which she's getting chopped soon again. I love all of my poles. It's hard to pick a favorite, but she's definitely one of my top now. I love her. Thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna add this to my moss pole playlist. I have a whole playlist, that playlist tab, when you click on it on my main channel, there's like a playlist button. If you click that, you will find individual playlists. I try to keep each video categorized into playlists. So I'm gonna add this one into my moss pole playlist so you can refer back to it. And all the other moss pole content videos I've done should be in that playlist as well. So I will have that link down below in the description. And if you have any questions, let me know. I really hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you guys later.